Welcome back, guys. Been quite busy. It's actually been a day and a half since I last recorded, and I've got a whole bunch done since then. Got the intercooler hung, I've got the cold side off of both turbos done, linked together into one end of the intercooler. The other side, I'm going to buy a 3-inch piping kit and run out of the intercooler to the throttle body. But I'll show you what I've done here. Intercoolers mounted up in there. I built my own little T-pipe there. It's actually got a flap back in it, so it'll draw a vacuum on the second turbo. This line actually goes up here behind the bumper, but I've got to redo the outlet side of the compressor, pointed a different direction. I'll show you why now. Had to redo a little bit of stuff. The passenger side tire hits the pipe up in there, and you can kind of see it. Driver side, unfortunately, hits the actual driving exhaust pipe. Actually hits right here, but only when you're all the way hard over, so I'm going to build a stop to overcome that. But I have exhaust come out of the back of the turbo there, about, I don't know, 190 degrees, a little over. Run back through that hole I showed you guys earlier. It actually does work out quite nice. The O2 sensor will be hidden right behind the middle of the tire, and it can't be turned into. Wires are tucked up safely into the strut tower there for the wheel speed and my O2. I am going to move the battery cable to where it's back up here on the inside, anchor it in there. But the exhaust does come, points right through the top there very nicely, not in the way of anything. I did have to redo the drain for the turbo. See if I can show you. Yeah, instead of coming straight down, I had to 90 over and out with it on top of the frame and then back down to the oil pan. It wasn't that big a deal, just took it off, put a 90 in it. Like I said, the compressor side of both turbos is hooked up, teed together into one end of the intercooler. And I will admit, I have done the heat cycles all on this engine to break it in up to 3,000 RPM and holding it there. Unfortunately, the turbos did not build enough pressure to blow that yellow cap off the other end of the intercooler. I don't understand why. Both wastegates are closed, so it should be building boost, but it doesn't look like they are. I don't know if it's simply because there's no load on them or what the deal might be, but we'll see. And like I said before, once all this is done and in there, if those turbos don't work and don't build boost, all I have to do at this point is unbolt them and swap in a different turbo. Might have to trim a little bit if they have a bigger housing, but it is what it is. As you see, I got my turbo blankets on them. That blanket is for a T3. These turbos say they're a T3, T4 hybrid, but the T3 blanket fit it perfectly, other than the internal wastegate, obviously. But those are on. I got both sides of the exhaust heat wrapped, keep the heat off. My fender, boost tube, everything else up under here. As we see, it is a pretty decent fit. I just threw that little filter on there for while it was doing the break-in to not suck a bunch of trash or dirt, whatever it could find up in. And then you see my return line now runs right over the filter, which is definitely lower than the inlet. It'll be fine. Running right back down through the frame into the side of the oil pan and our bungs that we made. This turbo, I'm not real sure about. I did have a little bit of oil smoke coming out of right down here against the turbine housing after the last break-in. I don't know if it's leaking already or what the deal might be. We'll see. Like I said, I just haven't run it that much yet. But about all I got left here is I got to redo that pipe. I'm going to turn the head of the turbo again to where this inlet, or outlet, excuse me, is coming right here, pointed at the front where the intercooler actually is. And then that's going to give me enough room to bring my exhaust back in and around and back out. Same as I did the other side. I just got to turn the compressor housing, put the 90 on there, and build my little exhaust like I did on the other side. And we'll be good to go. Not a lot left there. Debating on building my own X-pipe or simply taking it. I've got a guy over in Auburndale that's done all my exhaust work for, good God, decades. I mean, since I was a kid, building race trucks for the mud, any and everything else. Does a stellar job. So I might just stub it like I did the other side and let him carry it back to the Borlas and go from there. As you see, I already got that one heat wrapped, but just got to build that exhaust to come out around and back through the hole and down. We'll be good to go. I'm debating, I do have a comment as far as tuning software goes for hptuners. It's about the only one I've got so far, so if you're watching this one and I haven't ordered one, comment what you use. I want to know what you guys are using for tuning. I am definitely leaning towards the HP. I like it. Actually, I think later tonight, I think later this evening, I'm going to go ahead and download the VCM suite and see. I can familiarize myself with it before I actually go to tune anything. So I think I'll go ahead and download it, play around with it, see what I think. What did I want to tell you guys? Oh, like I said, the only charge piping that I've run so far is from this turbo out around to the end of the intercooler. Out of this turbo, all we had to do is come down 90 straight up. I'll show you the piping we have left. I don't have any clamps left. They all got used. And this is all we got left for piping. I've got 230 degrees and 145. And that little piece of straight that I already cut one end off of. And 2 straight couplings. That's it. So there is not enough piping there to get back up to the throttle body. And as I've said, this is just 2.5. I'm gonna go with a 3-inch up to the throttle. The 2 coming into 1, I can live with. But 1 2.5 inch out of that intercooler, you can see her hiding down there, up to the throttle body, I don't like it. I don't think it'll be enough volume. This, don't mind this, it still has to get a brace and hidden up there once I redo that end of it. But there's our intercooler hiding. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. But yeah, our tabs worked out beautifully, welded right up there on the bumper support bracket. Intercooler itself will get plenty of air. Yes, I'm gonna fix that. But yeah. Unfortunately, with everything I'm fixing to do in this pocket, exhaust wise, I think my only option for boost up to the throttle body, let me lay down here. Oh, I'm getting old. Shit sucks. When I have to come out, where are you guys? There you are. When I have to come out of here, unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to 90 out, come down under the core support, back up behind the radiator into the throttle body. I don't really see any other way of doing it, because I'm gonna have this pipe You guys are way too close. Let me, hold on. Aha! This pipe is actually going to be up here, coming down at an angle like this. So I'm not going to be able to come out of here and run up through the pocket. Even if I did bring it down and up towards the throttle body, there is nowhere up there to get it through, because there's a whirligigger in the way and all the piping that goes along with said whirligigger. So all I can see is coming under that core support and back up, which is going to be the lowest thing on this whole daggum car. And I don't know any other way of doing it. There is got a nice big hole right here to bring a 3-inch pipe up. I'm thinking if I run right through here, plenty of room, come up behind everything, and then that puts me right in line. I can put our MAF here, put my blow off somewhere in this vicinity, and go with it. I just don't like it having to go under the core support, because this is Florida. There's a lot of stupid little animals on the road, and I just don't want to get it. I don't want to trash it. I wish so badly I could knock out a corner of the radiator and just come straight up and boom, through here, gone. But unfortunately, radiators don't like it when you cut holes in them. All the freaking water just goes away. So yeah, it's complicated. But twin whirligiggers, if they gig, it would be nice. I do know for a fact that they whirly, but that's about it at this point. Did go ahead and order a wideband last night. I went with the AEM. I mean, don't get better than that. Probably going to run a glow shift boost and vacuum along with a glow shift oil pressure. I'm debating on running an oil temperature for the simple fact I don't have an oil cooler. I might get one later on down the road, but I don't know how much temp the turbos are going to add to the oil. So what's you guys' opinion? If this was your setup, or those of you that are already twin turboed, what gauges do you run? What do you monitor? Obviously air, fuel, and boost, that's a no-brainer. Do you look at your water temps? Do you look at your oil temp? I mean, what do you follow to know that everything's running safe and efficiently, basically? I'm also debating on a fuel pressure gauge. Obviously, fuel pressure falls off, you run lean, you detonate, that's a problem. But in my opinion, I could see a problem with fuel pressure through the wideband. For the simple fact, if the motor starts going way lean, I know there's a fuel problem, obviously. So the only other thing I'm thinking that I really want to see is the oil temperature. But I don't want quad gauges. I would rather just stick with 3 if I need to. If you guys really suggest running an oil temp, I will. Otherwise, I'm going to have the boost vacuum, obviously the wideband, and oil pressure. I'm not worried about oil pressure. I mean, we do have the boundary gears along with everything else, but let me know. Drop down in the comments. Tell me what gauges you are running or what you would run with a twin turbo setup. What you want to see. I'm going to get back to work. I'm going to do the exhaust on this side. And once that's done and it's pointed under the car, we're probably going to get this thing out, run it down the road, put a couple miles on that new clutch setup, the engine itself, and see if we can get any kind of sounds out of these turbos. And see if we can build up enough pressure in them to blow the cap off the other end of the intercooler. If not, we might already be SOL. Or if you have an idea as to why they're not building any boost at $3,000, let me know. Just sitting there, I mean, from idle and up, up to 2, up to 225, up to 3. Very little sound, almost no sound at all. And apparently I would think about 3 psi would blow that cap off the end of the intercooler. It's not anything serious. But if you have an idea why they're not building boost other than the typical, oh, well, it's a China turbo, I get it. Chinese parts work too for a little while, okay? Anyways, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, ring a bell. You know all that fun stuff. But like I said, stay tuned. Keep following me. Let me know on the gauges. And our next video should be either taking this to get exhaust on, tuning it, or actually the next video is going to be taking it down the road. Stay tuned, guys.